So, as I said, my name is Suzanne Hart. Welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. The topic today is, do you actually know the meaning of the words you're using? Now, when I say that, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this was a realization I had many years ago that I actually used words that I couldn't put into action. So I'm going to dive into that a little bit. So I want to rewind and I want to go back to when I first quit my job and I jumped into network marketing. Right. So here I was totally in network marketing and I thought, oh my goodness, I have all these transferable skills. I have all this experience leading and developing teams, and I have great habits. I want you to get this. I have great habits. So I thought magic was going to happen, but nothing happened. Nothing happened for my first year. And so I was frustrated. And what I also found was I wasn't doing the things I thought I needed to do. I wasn't following through. And so I had to begin to question myself. I had to begin to ask myself, what was going on? So this conversation was born of my desire to become a better leader. This conversation was my desire to also lead by example. This conversation was born of my desire to have clarity in my world and to follow through and do what I say I am going to do. So we're going to dive into this just to get a little bit deeper. So we're going to talk about habits tonight. We're going to talk about the 10 habits that highly successful people have and the clarity they have around the language and the words they use and how this actually connects and goes together. So, how does this work? One of the things I will say to you is that, do you realize that we have role models that just kind of pop into our world? We might be seeing them do something. We might be they do things and we're just like, I just admire this person. For me, one of those people was my basketball coach, Mr. Don Caldwell. There was just something about how he showed up that just inspired me. It was one of my managers, Joy LePage. It was just something about how she walked through the world. I just wanted to be like her. The question I began to ask is, why was that? When I got into network marketing, there was leaders that I wanted to model. What was it about them that inspired me? Because it wasn't what they were saying to me. It was who they were being. It was how they were showing up in the world. It was what they did day in, day out, consistently and persistently. So this is the first thing I want you to think about. Your character is a sum total of the habits you execute every day, expressed over time. It's what you do every day, expressed over time. It is your automatic way of being the things you do without consciously thinking. The difference between extraordinary leaders and the rest of us is they have mastered some habits and they're very conscious about what the behaviors look like that go with these habits. So this was Suzanne's disconnect when she first began to look at this. I realized that I would say something, but I would be something else. How many of you just put yes in the comment section if you have said something, but you realized you showed up totally different? In other words, you didn't follow through, you didn't do what you said you were going to do, and you were frustrated with yourself because you're like, why? This was what was going on for me, right? That was what was going on for me. So this is what I began to think about. So I knew that my habits were my character was the sum total of who I was being, the things I was doing expressed over time. The problem was, I didn't like who I was being or what I was doing. So I see some yup. I see Benita has a yup. I see one person has a yes. I see another yes, right? So we say something and we do another thing. So this was where I was struggling. So I'm the author of Leading with Character, and Leading with Character was born because I wanted to answer this question. Why was it that we often say one thing and we do another? So this is what I want to unpack. And then we're going to talk about the 10 habits that all successful people have. But first, we got to really nail down what a habit is. So I said it's your automatic way of doing. It's the thing that you consistently and persistently do, and often without thinking. But I want you to just really take a moment and begin to think through this. So this was my aha. If I say the word apple to you, type in the comment section what you see. Just describe it. Someone says, I love the book. Thank you very much. So when I say apple, what do you see? Hello, Cindy. Welcome. I'm going to wait. When I say the word apple, what do you see? Anybody see red? Anybody see round? Anybody think yellow delicious? Anything like that? Right? Because when I say the word apple, our mind paints a picture. So this was what my aha was. Oh, someone said sweet and red, healthy, sweet and red, juicy, healthy. I love it. All right. So we all see a picture. This was my aha moment. When I say apple, I see a picture. When I say house, I see a picture. When I say building, I see a picture. When I say flag, I see a picture. Those words evoke pictures in my mind. This was the interesting thing. When I say commitment, do you see anything? This is where my aha came in. I said commitment, but I didn't see anything. I truly believe we work and act according to what we see. So if I say the word commitment, if I say the word integrity, and it doesn't evoke a picture, we're kind of wishy-washy on who we're called to be. And that's why my question was, do you use words that you actually don't know the meaning? And when I say the meaning, I don't mean the dictionary meaning. When I say the word, do you actually know the behaviors and habits that bring that word to life? Think about that for a moment. Do you actually know the behaviors and habits that bring that word to life? So it actually paints a clear picture in your mind of who you are required to be. That was my aha. So I started realizing that the reason I was having challenges being who I wanted to be and who I said I was going to be and honoring my commitment was I was using language without actually paying attention to what it meant. What was it going to call me to be? Isn't this cool? Right? So I was using language and I was like, I'm committed. And the next way I wouldn't be doing what I said. I have integrity, and the next day I'd be doing something different because I was using the words, but I wasn't in alignment in terms of understanding what I was required to do to honor my word. How many of you are tracking? Say put tracking, put yes in the comment section. I want to make sure we're all on the same page. And that is where I saw my breakdown. Ooh, I see a yes. Awesome. Oh my gosh. It makes so much sense. Thank you. Right? So that's where I saw my breakdown. So what I began to do, and the body of Leading with Character, the book, was for me to begin to define these words, but not like the dictionary does. It was, how do I be that word? How do I be that? So I'm going to start talking about some of the habits of highly successful people. And before I go through that, we're going to talk about the habits related to those words, the behaviors related to those words, so you really get what I'm saying. But this is the other thing I want to say to you. As I began to really look at habits and behaviors, what I also came to realize is that all successful people, every winner, every person who creates massive success have the exact same habits. Put in the comments section, that is a clue. So it's not an abstract recipe. I'm going to give you the recipe. I'm going to give you the formula. Once I figured this out, I was just like, I must become this. These are the habits that I am required to master. But mastering, not like I know the words, but mastering in terms of I know how to behave when I say these words. So this is where the rubber hits the road for me. So the first habit of highly successful people, and I saw it, thank you, I think it was Benita, is visionary. Every successful person is a visionary. Now, I can say I'm a visionary, but really what a visionary means is I've casted a vision of where I'm going. For me, that means I've written it down, I've looked at it, I've expressed it, and the vision is so clear that I can smell it, taste it. I know the noises related to it. I know who's in it with me. I know what I'm called to do. And not only is my vision clearly marked out, it is also supported by clear goals and a clear action plan. And so when I say I'm a visionary in my life, I'm not a dreamer. To hear the difference, a dreamer is someone who's pie in the sky, they got something they'd like, but they haven't made a commitment to make it real. A visionary is someone who says, I cast a vision and I line up everything I need to do, goals, targets, actions, daily action plan, in alignment with that vision. So great leaders, successful people are visionaries. They keep in their forefront of their mind where they are going. Now, see how clearly I've articulated that? See, it paints a picture. So as soon as I say I have a vision, I know exactly what I have to do. I got to pick up pen and paper and write it so that I can see it, taste it, smell it. Then I got to stop and write down some goals to that hold that vision. I gotta set some targets. I got to develop an action plan. What am I going to do in the first quarter? What am I going to do in the second quarter? That's, to me, what a visionary does. Now, this is the world according to Suzanne. So I'm not using dictionary definitions. I'm using definitions that I can hold in my mind's eye. So when I say something, I know how I'm required to behave and how I'm required to act. Second one is clear purpose, right? A purpose is why. Why am I doing this? So for me, why is so key. So the reason this is called unstoppable mindset is my purpose is to help me and everybody who works with me become unstoppable in the face of life's challenges. That's what I'm called to do, right? So unstoppable, to be unstoppable, that's my purpose. So whatever vision I have, I'm required to be unstoppable. And I'm required to show people a pathway to being unstoppable. So what's your purpose? And is it clear? Can you articulate it? When people ask you, why are you doing what you do? Can you say, this is why? Or is it like, I don't know? Because until your vision is anchored in a clear reason, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. It's like the legs on that vision that you're casting. All right. Now, the next habit of all successful people is a positive self-image. Now, this is really cool because this is about your belief in self, your belief in your ability, your belief in your capacity, your capability. Now, what I've come to learn is my belief in self is not just I have a positive self-image and I look in the mirror and I go, I like what I see. No. This is my confidence in my competency. So the more competent I become, the more positive self-image I have. So for me, I'm always reading books. I'm overcoming challenges. I'm doing things to strengthen my belief. And most people have heard me say it, is every time I rise from a fall, from a challenge, I pick up something that builds my belief in my ability to do something. So challenges aren't something I don't want, because I know that every time I overcome something, it stretches me, but it makes me 10 feet tall and bulletproof too. It heightens my belief in self, right? But you see how I'm very clear when I say positive self-image, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I mean. Now, the next one is intentional. Okay? Intentional. And so for me, this is going back to I have my vision and then I set my goals. But this is the key thing for me what intentional means. Every single day, I wake up with 3 intentions. This is what I'm going to do every day. This is what I'm going to do today. They're clear, they're written down. I check them off at the end of the day, and they're not to-dos, just so you guys know. These are the outcomes that I am going to fulfill on today, this week, that are going to move me towards my vision. Do you see how clear that is? So when I tell people I'm intentional, it's not just a word that I'm using because it's popular. It's a word that I've clearly defined, so I know exactly what I have to do when I set my intention. So for Suzanne, setting her intention is pulling out her journal and writing what the 3 outcomes I'm going to achieve for the week and the 3 outcomes I'm going to focus on for that day. That is intention. Intention keeps me in productivity. It keeps me crystal clear. Now, in my mind, when I say I'm intentional, I have a picture of my journal. I have a picture of those 3 intentions I set, those 3 targets I set. I have a picture of every day I have 3 things I'm working on. It pops up, and I know exactly what I'm saying when I say intention. So remember, the topic today is, do you know the meaning of the words that you're using? Not the dictionary, but the word in terms of what's the actions and behaviors, who am I required to be to bring this word to life? Oh, I love it. Journaling is key. Writing down those 3 goals for the day. Absolutely. Next one I have is commitment. Now, this was a big one for me because I was committed until I became afraid. How many of you are committed until you become afraid? How many of you are committed until you become frustrated? How many of you are committed until you become tired? How many of you are committed until someone calls you and they're doing something way more fun than you're doing? So commitment goes out the window. So when I got present to my inability to be committed, I had to get a definition. Now, this is one I got from Power of Focus, so it's not Suzanne's, but it works for me, right? Is the pursuit of a worthy goal until accomplished, not until afraid, not until frustrated, not until tired, not until something more interesting comes along, until accomplished. Think about that for a moment. Now, when I say commitment, I know what I'm meaning. So this is what happened for me, was when people would ask me to do something before, I'd say, yeah, I'll be there. Not thinking, because, we do that. Sure, I'll do that. Or we go, I'll try, non-committal language. Now, when someone asks me to do something, my working definition of commitment goes through my mind. I'm going to pursue a worthy goal until accomplished. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do until accomplished. And so I'm like, do I want to commit to that? Am I willing to do the task and go on the journey that's going to have me honor the commitment? Because I now know what I'm saying and the behaviors required that line up commitment. So a lot of times I'm like, nope, not committed to that. Not committed to it, because I understand what it now means for me. So commitment is the next one. The next one is persistent. Now, when I looked at persistent, I thought, this is amazing. Persistence gives commitment life. So persistent is to be relentless. It is what allows you to do what you say you're going to do. Because persistent means I do even when frustrated. I do even when overwhelmed. I do even when fearful. I do even when tired. I do even when it's not popular because I committed to it. I do in the face of people telling me I can't. That is persistent. Persistent is the word that gives commitment life. So when I got that, and I became present to that, I was like, I need to become persistent. Persistent is how you mind the gap. That is the delay in delayed gratification. Persistence is how you mind that gap. It moves you from where you are to where you desire to be. Persistence is what you fill that gap with. So now I have a picture for myself. So when I say I've got to be persistent, I know exactly what I mean. I love it, Patricia. So true. Awesome. So that's what persistent means. Now, this was a big one for me. Now, if this was a big one for you, put big in the comment section. So, manage my emotions. Manage my emotions. Now, I was the queen of the pity party. I was a queen of blame. I was a queen of somebody else's fault. I was a queen of, it's not me. And so when I realized that my success was on the other side of my emotions, and that it was my emotions that were standing in the way of me taking action, whoo, that was big. So part of it is highly successful people, they manage their emotions. So what I'm saying is that they are aware of when something else beyond their control influences their state. So this is not about I'm positive. This is not about I have a great attitude. This is way beyond this. This is about life comes down your street, shakes you up, turns you upside down. You're running through the street, fearful, hair on fire, and you're like, wait a minute, I gotta stop and be present to what's influencing me and manage my emotional state. That's really what we're talking about. Every successful person is a master at this. Did they start out a master? Probably not. They probably started as a disaster in this area. But every time they got faced with something, they said to themselves, I have to manage my emotional state. I've got to manage my fear. I have to manage my anxiety. I have to manage my worry, if you will. I have to manage all the conversations that are happening in my head that are changing my emotional state and showing up in a not so good attitude. So highly successful people know exactly what they are required to do to manage their emotions. Now, for me, a lot of times it's journaling. It's getting into conversation with someone I trust so I can unpack how I'm feeling. It's being present to how I'm feeling and accepting how I'm feeling rather than stuffing and avoiding the emotions, because I know I'm going to be required to clear that emotion so that I can get back on track and honor my commitment. So when we talk about managing emotions, that's emotional mastery. It is huge for successful people. Next one is enthusiasm. Now, enthusiasm isn't that you're loud. Enthusiasm isn't that you're hyper. Enthusiasm is people can feel your passion and the energy you have for what you are doing. It is about you loving what you're doing, and people can feel it and see it on you, right? And so for me, it was like, how do I manage my emotions? So, I tell everybody I can manage my state like this, because it doesn't matter how I'm feeling. When I step out in front of the camera, when I step out to do business, when I step out to greet someone, it is a shift in my state so that I can sit in this place of enthusiasm. So I can sit in this place of bringing the energy that's infectious. So I can sit in this place of being positive and people feeling my excitement about what I'm up to. They feel it on me, right? Now, I'm not a hyper person. I'm actually not even well, some people think I'm funny. I don't think I'm all that funny, right? But that's not what enthusiasm is. It's about being able to be engaging. And when people connect with you, they feel you. They have an experience of your passion. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about enthusiasm. So for me, I am present to who I'm required to be when I'm in communication, when I'm in connection with other people, so that I can show up infectious. I can show up as a source of inspiration. I can show up as a light for people. I'm clear on who I'm required to be. The next one is value time. Now, value time is huge. So one of the things for me that really became present to me when I was looking at this was that oftentimes I worked in a state of busy. And busy means I had a lot on my plate that didn't move me forward. It also meant that I was giving my time and energy to things, people, places, and spaces that didn't actually move my life or my business forward. So for me, what I mean by managing time is I moved myself from busy to productive. And I live with a schedule, and I plan my day, and I decide what comes into my day, how long and when. But I call this how much and when, for how long and when. And if you're not on the agenda, possibly you won't get my time. Now, this was a beautiful thing. When I got present to it and I got present to commitment and honoring my word, I became more strategic with my time. And it allowed me to come 100% to where I was. So if I was with you, I'm the person who turns off my phone, gives you 100% of my time until I'm off to do something else. And I come to that with 100% of my time. So for me, it was that in order to honor my time, it started with me. I had to be aware of my time. I had to be aware of how productive I could be with my time. I had to build out a schedule. I had to teach the world to honor my time. Because people aren't going to honor my time unless I do it. So for me, time became the most precious commodity that when used up, I never get back. So honoring your time. But do you see how I have these pictures in my mind of what this looks like? So when I say something to you, I'm not just saying, oh, honor your time. I know exactly what I mean and the behaviors that go along with us. And finally, this is my number one habit. It is my bottom line top habit. I think this is a habit that's the foundation for every single habit. Can anyone tell me what it is? For those who know me, you might say, I know. Put it in the comment section. Who knows what it is? Let's see if anyone gets it. Ah, yes. It is integrity. It is integrity. So someone out there knows me. Social Media Saturdays, that's Taria Hodge. She knows me. It is integrity. So integrity is to do what you say you're going to do. It is to honor your word. And when you're not able to honor your word, is to have the courtesy to clean it up with the person who you didn't follow through with and reset so that you recreate integrity. My belief is that every day I wake up out of integrity. And the only way I recreate integrity is I honor the commitments that I have lined up every day. So I'm not the person that will tell you, oh, I'm a person of integrity. For me, integrity is not something you have and then you always have it. Integrity is something I recreate every day. So if I say I'm going to work out tomorrow morning, when my feet hit the floor in the morning, I get a choice. I can stay in bed, get back into bed, get under the covers. Sometimes I want to do that. Or I can honor my word and be full in integrity around my workout. If I say I'm going to write something today, being in integrity would say, I honor my word. If I say I'm going to spend time with you, that means being there on time, being fully present, and honoring my word. It's doing what I say I'm going to do. Now, none of us are perfect, and I don't always follow through, but it's the awareness of I didn't do what I said I was going to do, and now I got to go clean it up and recreate integrity with that person. Now, Do you see how I'm not just throwing around the word, you're a person of integrity, you don't have integrity. It's such a common word. But what does it mean in terms of the behaviors that allow you to bring it to life for you, right? So those are the 10 habits that all people execute. They all successful people have it. So I've given you the recipe for just being powerful in the world, right? And when I got this, I was like, this list lives in my journal. I look at it all the time. When I feel out of sorts, I go back and I look at my list, and I'm like, these are the habits I'm required to master. These are them, right? And so this is what I really want, why I really wanted to do this live, is that we live in a time where people speak, right? They say things. They say things because it's popular. They say things because it's trending at the marketplace. They say things because it's a good way to dismiss. People say sorry, without even thinking what that means. And for me, whatever I say should line up with a behavior that represents what I say. Otherwise, I am living out of alignment. And you see, the thing about leadership, the thing about who we are, the thing about our character in the world, it is not created in conversation by what we say. It is created when what we say lines up with what we do and who we be. So, if you are consistently late, people will refer to you as a late person. If you don't follow through, people will refer to you as someone you can't count on. That will become the definition you have associated to your name. Many, many years ago, they'd say our name was everything. Your name is everything. Do not deface someone's name. It's who they are. I never got that. But when I started doing this work and I started looking deeper, what it meant is we are known by our name. But when someone says your name, what pictures, remember we think in pictures, what thoughts create pictures about you in the world? That's really what we're talking about. See, my character and your character defines our leadership. It defines who we are. So I asked at the beginning of the live, are you stuck somewhere and you have the skills, you have the experience, you may even know what to do, but you're not moving? What I would say to you is examine who you're being in the world, how you're showing up, and ask the question, do I like who I be? Do I like how I'm known? Do I like how I'm known to myself? You see, many years ago, when I was struggling in network marketing and I had to sit down and really look at what was going on, I had to recognize I was being prideful. I had to recognize that I was caught up in looking good. I had to recognize I was caught up in being right. I had to recognize that I wasn't asking for help because I was too proud to let anybody know I was struggling. That was how I was being. And because I was being that way, I was showing up in a way I didn't like. I had to take that hard look in the mirror and say, who am I committed to being and what do I want? And when I got clear and I said, okay, I'm going to shift who I am in the world. And I want to be proud of when people say Suzanne Hart. I want to be known as someone of integrity. I want to be known as someone who honors her commitments. I want to be known as someone who does what she says she's going to do. I want to be known as someone who's tenacious and persistent and driven. That's how I want to be known in the world. But there's something way more important. That's how I want to be known to myself. Because I take me everywhere. And remember I said, habit number 3, positive self-image. My positive self-image is created by how I know myself, who I know myself to be. When I'm alone and my mind is racing, What is my mind telling me about who I am? When I commit to something, does my mind go into doubt because my mind sees a pattern of not honoring my word? And it says, who are you kidding? That's what shook me. That's what I got. I realized that habits were so key. Yes, I wanted to honor my word to other people. But when I honor my word to myself, it's easy to honor my word to other people because it becomes my automatic way of being. All right. So let's see what we got. I love it, Patricia. Loving your messages. Been thinking and assessing the same thing all week about how do I should I show up in the world? Should I be my word? The message is hitting home. Oh, you're so welcome, Patricia. I love it. Someone is saying, who am I committed to being? Sure, this is a good place to start at. Great comments. Benita, recreate integrity helps so much not having guilt because I can begin to recreate whenever I recognize it. Benita, that is a massive takeaway because guilt and shame does not serve us in any way, shape, or form. But when you are able to recognize and you can say, I'm going to recommit, and you can recommit 5 times in a day when you're getting started. But when something becomes a habit, it occurs with ease. But when we're shifting into it, you might find yourself recommitting when you woke up, recommitting just after breakfast, recommitting after lunch. That's okay. Don't get caught up in the shame and you should have, and I didn't do it. Be a person of integrity, recommit to yourself and recommit to the world and just keep moving. I love it. Thank you. Let's see. Love what you're sharing, Suzanne. Thank you. Thank you so much. Acting in integrity no matter what. I love that. This is the #1 habit in Suzanne's world. All right. So this is so cool. We are going to start this whole month is about habit mastery. This is about doing what you say you're going to do. This is about getting present to your automatic way of being, the things you do without thinking, the things you do when stressed, the things you do when you think you're coping. We're going to begin to examine that this month, right? So thank you so much for joining. And as you wrap, put in the comment section your biggest takeaway. What is your biggest takeaway? What is the one thing that you're going to take on this week from what you heard today? Because remember, knowledge is power, not when you just take it in and go, wow, that was great. Knowledge is power when we take it and we take something and we put it into action in our world. Who are you going to share this with? Who are you going to share and touch and inspire and move? Can you make a commitment to do that? Because I know that when I teach, train, and discuss something I've learned, it becomes ingrained in me even deeper. So I'm going to ask you to touch a life. Share this live, get into communication, and touch a life. For those of you that are not a member of our Facebook community, definitely join us, right? Mindset Mastery for Super Achievers. That's who we are. Join us on Facebook. Become part of the community. And this was Unstoppable Mindset, right? This is where we support you in resetting your thinking. We give you tips, tools, and principles that help you manage your thoughts, manage your emotions, right? Be present to your communication so you can show up and do the things you say you want to do when life comes down your street. Because the one thing we have control of is who we are being in the world. So thank you for joining us for Unstoppable Mindset. We will be back here 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Blessings, and I will see you back here next week. Take care.